Hello, everyone, and it's so wonderful to see you all here. Um, when my son was about 8 or 9 years old, he had to write an essay in his school book about his family. And he wrote about me. My mom is a barrister, but she loses all of her cases. And I did, almost all, because I was acting for parents, almost exclusively. And in the mid-80s, there were many magistrates out there who didn't seem to realize that they had a right to be in court and a right to be represented, which was relatively recent, I've got to tell you, and who looked at you as if it was you personally who had done this terrible thing to this child. I know you've been there. I can hear you laughing, Sam, because that is what exactly they would look at you, wouldn't they? But it was from the sublime to the ridiculous then, because you were either in front of the Beaks in Barnet, or you were in front of Mr. Justice Leahy, who was almost a god in my eyes, or Mrs. Justice Booth. And one day could be a wardship, and the next would be back in Uxbridge, hacking it out in front of the Beaks. It was tough. And two things, in my experience, have changed beyond measure. One is the incredible knowledge and sophistication of our judiciary, of our specialist family judiciary. Now, I know you're all standing there thinking, I didn't know Cover was a crawler, but just think about it. I have nothing left to gain. And I often think this. Whoever says what an incredible judiciary we have, the bank, the shared knowledge, the treasury of knowledge that our judiciary has about everything to do with children, from ordinary child development to abnormal child development, from factitious illness syndrome to personality disorders, from surrogacy to international abduction, from emotional abuse to spiral fractures of the tibia, or unusual suture lines in the skull. They've got it all. If you put them all together, I think we could safely say that our family judges, we put them into the judging Olympics, and they will win. Okay, and you're not being a crawler just because there's some of them here. It's okay, you can clap. The second thing that's changed beyond measure is the research that we now have. And this is really a much more recent thing over the last 10 years or so, since the setting up of the Family Justice Observatory, but also before that. The research of people like Dr. Julia Brophy, who did so much to keep the voice of the child something that was meaningful and not merely lip service, and also protected children from the possible fallout of identification when judgments began to be published. And Julia can't be here tonight, but I was very proud to know her. I am very proud to know her and to have had her as the policy officer for the Association of Lawyers for Children for years. And the other person who is here tonight is Professor Karen Broadhurst, OBE, who leads her team in Lancaster to such great effect and has provided the most exceptional research so that we actually know so much more about these children and their problems and how they can be solved and what the trends are, good and bad. I'm not saying they're all good, they're not, because of course there's so much less help available out there for so many families. But those two great changes in the family justice system are so beneficial. We set up this set in 2000 based on the principles, really, of the former four-brick court, which were shared by Queen's Bench Division, by QEB Chambers. And they were principles of feminism, egalitarianism, civil liberties, and a dedication to legal aid. And I know that we've diversified hugely and we've grown enormously, and we now do far more privately paid work, which is absolutely essential and necessary to a thriving, big specialist family set. But we still have that in our roots. And one of the biggest architects of Coram Chambers was Sasami, and he's asked me to read a few words that he's written. He can't be here tonight because he's away. But what he has said is this. Sorry. Scrolling. Oh, it's the wrong one. Of course, I saw the creation of Coram Chambers through the merger of Forbrick Court and QEB, and an already strong force in the world of family law became even stronger. I do keep an eye on things, even though I'm part of the history now, and I'm genuinely pleased that something I was part of continues to be successful. So, if you're a member of this Chambers, maybe a new tenant or a clerk, please realize that this is a special place and do your bit to preserve and nurture it, and maybe you'll be around at the 50th anniversary to tell your story of what it means or what it meant to you. I can't stop without saying something about George, though. I started at Forbrick Court in March 1990, and I think 3 months later, George turned up. He was 18. He just turned 18, though, and the clerks had to take him out and show him how to get drunk in a pub, I think. It wasn't something he'd done before that. But anyway, I also want to speak about Alison. When we first set up this Chambers, we had a secret meeting in the room above the Devereux pub in 1999. It was so secret that every clerk in the temple knew about it before we did. And there was this very striking young girl sitting there. I think she was only about 18. And she didn't miss a trick. She didn't say a thing, but she didn't miss a trick. She'd been brought up by the fearsome Carol Atkinson and also Deborah Price. But she took everything in, and I could see her doing it. She was the junior tenant of the combined sets. And exactly 25 years later, I'm retiring, and she is joint head of Chambers and now KC. So, ask not for whom the bell tolls. Anyway, she is an absolute star, and I think many people can be deceived by her great charm and social manner into thinking she's not a very tough opponent. Let me tell you, she is a tough opponent. Anyway, it's a beautiful circularity to this, that she becomes silk at the moment of my retirement. There's a beautiful circularity to it, and also to the fact that we have been predominantly women, and people always ask me, oh, how do you retain women at the bar? I mean, how do you do it? It's very simple. Give everybody who needs it the time for their own families, and look after each other. Thank you so much. Goodbye.